Here we are again, folks. It's Thursday, the 25th of October. Let me take my first sip with you. Here we go. It's another good day. It's another good day. Folks, thank you. Please keep it coming because I know you can. I look at numbers. I'm not interested in likes. I don't count the likes. I don't look. People like the videos. That's nice. What I notice is how many the view count on the videos. That's what I notice. I'm not keeping track of likes. I'm not a kid. So that's why I keep saying, thank you and buy my music. There's over 1,000 people who watch this every day. It could be that there's one person who tunes in for a second, goes away and comes back and watches again. I don't know if that's how those likes, those views are counted or not. I just know on average my videos within a 24-hour period are viewed by over one. The view count is over 1,000. So by law of statistics, 1/10, which has already been kind of no, actually my subscriber count is up in the 30,000s, but 1/10 of the number that I regularly see is what has plunked down and bought some music. So a whole lot more of you folks need my music in your collection. Come on. And if you don't need it, you can do what actually there are. When I saw the statistic, I said, that's crazy, but it's probably true that upwards of 30 or 40% of records bought by people don't play them. So if you're like that, just buy, like I say, buy my music to help me stay online. I have been enjoying when I do these pulls, and I pulled one over from this section this morning in the ends of my S's to see what we come up with. The first thing I come up with is my 2 copies of Sun's Signature, the recent project with Elizabeth Fraser and her, I don't know if he's her husband or her current significant other, but this is an EP. I have 2 copies because I saw online where there was remixes and that there was a colored vinyl version. I didn't check deep enough to see that the remixes are available with the new vinyl only as a download, or you can buy a physical CD. That's fine. The remixes are okay, but this is beautiful. And Steve Hackett plays on here. Wonderful. She had worked with Steve Hackett before on a project that I heard. Love both of those musicians very much. Glad I got to see Elizabeth Fraser sing. I missed meeting her, but I met her ex-husband, Robin. Lovely. What next? Here's an album that I had sold and then recently was able to re-buy it. Suntreader. I always associate this with Stama Yamashita's Eastwind, not because Yamashita's on here, mainly because of Morris Pert. And the, I don't know, I like that cover. It just makes me think of that other association. Peter Robinson on piano, who was in Quatermass. He's been in a bunch of bands. The Hill with Chris Farlow. I forget who all. He's done a lot of arranging work, and I think he's done soundtrack work too. When I got this back, I was glad I got it because I first sold it thinking, I never play it. It's good. yesterday, right quick, I did go through those records. Played Four Against. Hadn't played this in a long time. This is a great album. I played the Lugaroo, and the Canadian band enjoyed it, unlike when I first got it. Impression is the same, but it's like I got into it. I enjoyed it. What do we have here? Okay. Welsh band, Super Furry Animals, Ice Hockey Hair EP. This is a record store reissue, I believe. These guys are great. They remind me of the Beatles in their songwriting and playing. A lot of variety, a lot of craft. Even though it's just pop music, it seems sometimes like there's more to it to me. Although I don't know what it would be. They just come off as, and I have more CDs than vinyl by them. I like them. Here's Phantom Power. This is an original. It's been reissued. This is with the etched side. Great songs. I've mentioned in the past that I got to meet Gruff Rhys. He was in town. He was on Conor Oberst's label, Team Love. I don't have those solo records. But Bright Eyes was playing a free show outdoors. I went to hang out in the Bright Eyes camp, and that's where I met Gruff Rhys backstage, and we chatted as much as I could. His English was really pretty bad. This is a great band, and I love this album. I gotta take the plastic off because the cover is so cool. Super Furry Animals, Dark Days, Light Years. Man, I like covers like that. And it fits the music. This is a fantastic pop album. Love their graphics. And they have some pretty silly videos too. I bought the Rings Around the World DVD when it came out because I really like that album. And it won't play on my new Blu-ray player, but it's no big deal because it's like, you know, it was like a thing that I watched and then that was it. I think they're a great band. What do I have something else by them? Oh, okay, yeah, I do. Broadback Brings Around the World. This is a EP. Oh my goodness. What? Did I know I have this? Yes, I did. But it's almost like looking, you know, some like I say, this is fun for me because it's like ooh, what's in here? What have I got? This is fun. Good band if you don't know them. I think it was significant that they've made records, or they make their records in their native tongue as well as English. This is an intriguing band. Supersilent on the Rune Gramophone label, associated with Death Prod. This is improvised, but doesn't sound like a typical improvisation. It's a very interesting kind of thing they do. It's hard to describe. It's almost, some stuff sounds like it's like, almost like it's bubbling up from the depths. I have a few. I have number 10, Supersilent number 11. I have the one that's on DVD, and I have number 14. These are what I have. Yeah, this is I'd get them all if I could find them. You know, one thing I'll say or remind folks, or just say out loud, is that when people ask me about, you know, have you heard of it? Do you have? You know, Omaha is in Nebraska, very white, conservative part of the country. And so there's a lot of music that never comes here because it doesn't sell. The record stores, there's very few of them they don't order them because of the conservative nature of most of the customers. So there's a lot of music that I never get an opportunity to buy, and I don't like to order online. Part of the lifelong thrill collecting records is the dig. Here we have another where the plastic is going. So after Super Furry Animals, Supersister from Holland, great band from the 70s. They take influence from Soft Machine and the Canterbury School. This was the last album of theirs that I could find of the original run, because they got back together. And Charlie Mariano, the jazz player, is on here. Plays sax on here. This is really good. They're a really good band. Robert Jan Stips is the leader of the band. Keyboardist, primary writer, singer. There's a sense of humor to some of their stuff, but musically it's just wonderful. This is the first thing I heard from them. This is my original copy too. It's not a gatefold, but it's an old Dutch pressing, a Netherlands pressing, A Present from Nancy. This is the first thing I heard by them, and it starts off, it sounds like Soft Machine in many ways. It's a really good album. It stands the test of time. I also bought the reissue. This is on red vinyl, and nothing else about it different. I've had people say, I wish you would do longer reviews. Folks, this is what I say. If I show you something and it intrigues you, look it up, okay? Don't rely on a review. Go listen. That's the deal. Putting in just staring. Once again, a reissue. Early versions of this album are gatefold. This is not. I assume, or I'm thinking, there's a association with some sort of dance piece with this album. This is just, again, the band is consistently great in their composing and playing. Another one where there's a gatefold version. I don't have the gatefold. To the Highest Bidder. This is probably my favorite, or the most played of those. Great band. I love the graphics too. Yeah, there's a gatefold version of that. The last one I have two more on vinyl. I've got the more recent stuff on CD. Sweet OK Supersister. I forget the reason why the band was named this for this last album. Sweet OK Supersister. Spiral Staircase SASS. This one seems more comedic than even the others, but the music is still intact. Very interesting. Very good. Then I have this like a compilation, Super Starshine Volume 3. It's very interesting that Supersister, when I first got this years ago, I thought it was just for Supersister. But this is actually a series on Polydor. I think it's a Dutch series of different artists. There they are, the Super Starshines, see? Great band if you don't know them. Seriously great band. A couple more things here I pulled. And more plastics that will go, others that are still intact. Here's one that always reminds me of when I found it at Peaches. Remember that record store? I think it was National for a while. But when they came here, I was at a poor stage, but they came here and they immediately had this marked down section of imports, which I would just go gaga over because I wanted them all and I couldn't afford them. But this is when I finally got out of that section. The Irish band, Supply, Demand, and Curve. I'm not exactly sure why I decided to get this. Possibly the price. So glad that I did. This is progressive rock mixed with folk and just straight rock, but real tasty. Real tasty, not derivative at all. This is a real good album. Mostly instrumental, which I like. Supply, Demand, and Curve. Really good album. That's a favorite. 2 more records here. 3, actually. The one keeps sticking, and it tells me, get rid of that plastic, and it goes right now. Okay. Last 3 things I have to show. Supremes, Reflections. I love this. I love Motown. I love all music. I love pop music. And a lot of the greatest pop music, I love it. I don't collect it for reasons that I keep talking about. You know, I'm looking for this other stuff. But this is a gem from my childhood. I've had more Supremes records, and because of space, I got rid of them. But this one, when they embraced psychedelia, I just loved it, and I loved what they did. The Motown people. Norman Whitfield was really into it. Holland Dozier Holland, their primary writers, excuse me, they got it together and started writing these cool songs. Reflection, I want to see, is that, yeah, that's a Holland Dozier Holland song. I've always loved the Motown label too. Diana Ross just played here in town, but I wasn't interested in going. And the last 2 things that I pulled, Stu Martin with John Surman, live at Woodstock Town Hall. This is jazz. I'd have to read the notes to give you the rest of the personnel. My recollection of this is that this is very good. Stu Martin's a very good drummer, and John Surman, the sax player. Important musicians. Getting into my John Surman section, which I have more of, upon reflection, and that great label ECM. He played the baritone sax a lot, and bass clarinet. I can't describe this album for you, but it's like, for my taste, what ECM did and still does is substantial and important and well worth exploring. Well worth exploring. So a little bit more about the album. Thank you again, folks. Thank you for your support and your interest in my music. Interlude, my latest batch of music. I shared with you about number 7 on here, which was written in response to my brother's death a few years ago. Number 18 is called Not Right News. It is one of the more down pieces on here because a lot of this music reflects my need for brightness and creating a mood that I can live in musically. But Not Right News is heavy. It's one of the pieces on here that if I could have it done by an orchestra, also the one Matter Has with the horn players. Well, shit, there's the other one, number 6 before show. Number 6 is That one has this bum, bum, bum. Some of these I've actually previewed in videos in the last couple of years. And that's one I know I played while I was working on it. That one has a part where I never got Blake and James in to complete what I wanted. I wanted them to take that horn part and play it live. Now what may happen is that I will get them and Hank Red ensemble to do that horn part. It's one here where you might not catch the intensity of it. It's one where if I could have it played live, you know, I would do a Carla Bley where I'm, you know, molto, you know, building towards the end. And I wanted a big low bass note at the end of it, but I couldn't figure out how to record it, a big heavy bass note without overloading things. So there's a hint of it here, but it's not what I would really. It's where much of this, if I could afford a producer, you know, someone to help me get the most out of the sounds in the studio, this would be amazing. But it is very good as it please. Get a copy, Interlude. I'm not beating a dead horse. I'm not. Shit is good. I'd like to end by sharing that I heard from my nephew Kareem that he looks like he got a job. Well, he said he's waiting to be cleared by the background check, which should be fine. My nephew is no criminal, no weird spots on his record. He's a good man, not a criminal. So that's good news. Looks like he's got a job. Man, I sure hope so. Looks good. And other things, my neighbor finally came home. They kept him in the hospital for like 3 days. We got together yesterday, got an update. His mom also was able to come home, but she needs full. I don't know how this is going to go. My heart goes out to my neighbor. She needs full-time care, so he has people coming in every day. Or that's the plan. I don't know. I bet it breaks down. I told him I used to do this sort of stuff when I worked in hospitals. You know, I've done the full gamut from straight psychiatric care to working on geriatric units where you know you have to do a lot of physical labor. And I said, I'm not up for it. You know, you'll have to get the professionals. You know, the first time he called me and I went over and we couldn't get her up. You know, she had to help us, and you know, she could barely do that. But I'm hoping that they can get what they need so that mom can be at home with my brother. That's what I got, people. I do intend. So I say I'm not business minded. So I've been showing this discus release fall. I started showing it in music groups, and it's not released yet. It's not released until the 7th, it turns out. Martin let me know, well, it's not released yet, but still, if it creates a head of interest in the music towards the release, that's a good thing, okay? I intend to listen more today besides just pleasure listening, and I have some work to do today. In conjunction with Hank Red, I intend to give these public eyesore new releases a second dive in. As I said, my first impression was, well, I like my public eyesore release better than those. Maybe that's not a nice thing to say, and that's not what people need to know, because, you know, when they're looking for information about buying music. So I need to listen to these again and get a more objective or just a more nuanced perspective on what each release is doing. Okay. I'm not sure what else to share, you know. Hope you folks are doing okay. Oh, I'll share this. Pat B. You've been watching. Pat B is an old friend of my brother Pat's, and every now and then we get together. He makes comments sometimes that it's like, Pat, and I talk to you like, because I know you. So yesterday I deleted your comment about depression. Pat, you don't know depression. Most people don't have a clue about mental health issues. When I said I woke up cranky, it wasn't because of what somebody said. It wasn't because of the Rolling Stones comment I got. That irritated me, but that was not the source of my crankiness, which was related to the state of depression that rises and falls at different times of the year. That's what it was about. It's not because of something. And you other folks who have depression, there are many types of it. But you know what I'm talking about, who you folks who have major depression, clinical depression, okay? It's not because something happened. It has to do with your electricity in your body, your chemistry. Okay, so I just want to just clarify that, and I'm sure that there's other folks who need to learn this. Depression is not just because you're sad or somebody pissed you off and you're angry. That is a form of depression. You know, a form of depression in many ways is anger turned inwards when it's situational. When we're talking on a clinical level, diagnostic level, not the general depression that we all deal with in life, it's not situational, okay? And that's what I have. And I have good coping skills, okay? So when things piss me off, they piss me off, and I go through the feelings and I move on. People who don't know better than to hold on to things and to grouse about them and to fret and to ruminate about past things that they have no control over, that creates the type of depression that is anger turned inwards and many other things. I don't do that. I have coping skills, okay? I've moved through stuff. So that's why I share this stuff, okay? Every now and then people will also say to me when I make comments about negative people and things, they'll say, just ignore the bad people. No, that's why things are so bad. It's because of everyone trying to ignore it and just, we need to do like we did in the old days. I remember it as a child. Older people who had balls, or their values were still important to them, they call you out on your shit. Don't be acting like that. Don't talk to people like that. Have some manners. Have some respect. Think about what you're doing. Think about your position in the community, and and be helpful, and just don't be a dick. Don't be an ass. And that's what we have now, because people ignore stuff and, I don't know if I should say anything, or I don't want to, that ain't working. So I address it because that helps, okay? Don't let me get started about politics, because that's a perfect example where bad people are in charge because a lot of bad reasons. Anyway, so music is the healer. Music is my focus. It helps me to stay more grounded than if I were to sit around watching movies all day or binge watching series. Every now and then I'll do that when I find something of interest. But I engage in the arts most of the time, and it really, it helps. It's a good thing, and that's what I encourage you all. What's going on here? Oh, okay. So I have my email open. So what's going on tonight? I'm not going to go, but tonight is the nominee reveal of the 18th annual Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards. I'm interested because I might get nominated. I don't know that I will. I've been nominated and I've won several times. I don't know how many times I've been nominated. I have won 5 times that I can remember. I have the awards out there. I know that we had friends submit the RAF album for Album of the Year. Let me show it. I haven't showed it in a while. I've had no sales of this, in a month. It's still available, people, and this album is badass. RAF No Salvation. It's got a punk heart, but it rocks like a bitch, okay? With regard to rock and roll, because I've been talking about the Stones because I like them, but I'm also having fun with it. If I were to pull something out of what I do in direct comparison to the Stones, this is it, and this kicks their ass. We kick their ass when it comes to rocking. We're not the same kind of rock, but we will. And this album, we caught it. It's pretty good. So I'll leave the link for that too. I haven't had any sales on that at all, and it's worth it. Okay, people. We'll see what happens with the nominee reveal tonight. I'm curious. I'm not going to go, but it will be online, or at least ways the results will be online soon. Take care. Let me know how you're doing.